Hey guys, Immersed here, and welcome to another Mists of Pandaria beta video. Today we're in Temple of the Jade Serpent on a Resto Druid, and we're just basically going to run this through. It's a pretty smooth run, and I'm just going to be talking about what's going on in the dungeon, what spells I'm using, how Resto Druids have changed. The gear I'm using are 378s right now, and the group consists of a warrior as a tank, a monk, hunter, and rep paladin as the DPS, and me, the Resto Druid, as the healer. So, for those of you who don't know or haven't experienced the beta, what they basically start you off with on the beta is 5,000 gold, a lot of potions, a lot of elixirs, a lot of flasks, PvP gear and PvE gear. Not for monks right now, but Blizzard just gives you a lot to start out with, so you can test things, which is what the beta is used for. So basically, just a little tidbit in there for those of you who either don't have the beta or just didn't know. That's what you start off with. That's why you can see all these videos, and or you can import your character. So you got two pretty good options there how you want to experience this. So I don't currently have a Resto Druid. My main Druid, which is enthralled on Murden, he is Balance Feral. So I don't actually have a main Resto Druid, so I thought I would turn him Resto and see how it played out, and I really enjoyed it. I'm actually contemplating bringing him Resto. If you're Resto and you haven't experienced a Resto Beta Druid, don't respec. It's going to be amazing. Like, I have never played an 85 Resto Druid, ever. Let alone in a normal dungeon, let alone in an 85 dungeon, an 85 heroic. This is my first serious run. I actually just remembered I did do 1 hour of Twilight on the same Druid I'm using right now, but I did have a Ret tank. I was tanking in a Resto form. It wasn't considered a dungeon, so this is my first real straightforward dungeon as a Resto Druid. I really enjoyed it. So let's talk about what has changed and why basically I picked a Resto Druid to create this video. First off, one of the biggest changes that I love is the Life Bloom Glyph. What the Life Bloom Glyph allows you to do is, say, like right now on my tank I have 3 stacks of Life Bloom. I keep it up as much as I can. But if I drop to half health and I see my tank is not taking that much damage, I just click on myself and I click Life Bloom once, and all 3 stacks with the major Life Bloom Glyph are transferred to me. So that is a great glyph for Resto Druids, especially in PvP, or especially in dungeons. Like, it's just a great glyph all around. I really highly recommend it to Resto Druids out there. So, also pointing out right there, you see the clear casting icon, and what I'm going to do anytime this is up is I'm going to do exactly what I just did, and I cast a Regrowth. I have the glyph of Regrowth, so what it does is it removes the heal over time effect, but it makes it a 100% crit. So 2 things happen here. Crit heals, like crit damage, like crit anything in any game you're playing. Crit means higher than normal. It means it's a critical strike, it's a critical hit, it's a critical heal. It's just bigger. So keeping that in mind, getting a crit heal on a tank is amazing. And also it will put life-giving seed on the person you crit on. So basically what that means is life-giving seed, next damage they take will heal for an X amount. So that's very good. That's why I picked Regrowth, the glyph, to make it crit all the time. So now it's a 100% crit, but it doesn't have the heal over time effect. So this boss is relatively simple. You just have to deal with the ads, and then you come to this part. You have to avoid the water part. Now I actually take a hit here so you guys can see just what happens. So let's see. Alright, I'm full health, I take a hit, I get knocked back in the air. It's not a pleasant. Don't get hit by that. When you're running this dungeon for yourself, be sure to avoid that. I just wanted to make it a point to show just how much damage it can do. And, this on Heroic, that will probably one-shot you to a degree, or get you very close down to a one-shot. So all you gotta do is do what I'm doing now, just keep running around in circles, avoiding it. I did this on a Fire Mage earlier. You can hard cast, for about 5-6 seconds, and then you gotta start moving again, but blinks and whatnot. Ice block, you can just ice block right through it, so, you know, it's relatively simple. Relatively very, very simple fight. So, another thing I want to touch on is they added Tree of Life back in the beta. It's under the talent Incarnation. So what that will do is it will give you an improved form based on your specialization choice. So like if you're Feral Kitty, which Feral is Kitty now, it's not Feral and Bear. It's not Kitty and Bear. If you're Feral Kitty, you're going to have an upgraded cat form for, you know, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. I believe it's 30 seconds. So Incarnation for a Resto Druid is Tree of Life. Now, I've always loved Tree of Life. However, for this particular dungeon, I decided to go with Trance. And what Trance does is it gives you basically most talent choices go off of your specialization. So my Trance as a Resto Druid will heal for me. Each Trent I summon 3 heals for about 3,300 each, so that's roughly going out to about 9 to 11,000 in total every time they heal. So that's very, very good. Now the main reason I picked it over Tree of Life is Tree of Life is on a 3-minute cooldown. So what that means is every 3 minutes I can basically use Tree of Life. The Trent is on a 1-minute cooldown. So by the time I can use Tree of Life again, I could use Trent 3 times in that entire thing. I gotta wait 3 minutes for a 3-minute cooldown. I use my Trent's 1-minute cooldown, 2-minute, 3-minute. It's the same thing. So as you can see right here, I critted on the tank 2 times. He's back up to full health. That's what the Glyph is good for. When you really need a crit, you can get it 100% of the time. It's an amazing Glyph. I really highly recommend it. So another talent I picked up is, I believe it's called Cenarian Ward. If you look on my action bar, it's C-1, which means control 1. So what this is, I can put this on a target for 30 seconds. The next time they take damage, it will heal for 10,000 every 2 seconds, I think for 6 seconds. I believe it is, or 10 seconds, something like that. So it's basically like a Prayer of Mending that doesn't jump. It stays on one target. It's a 30-second cooldown. It's very, very useful. I just used it again. And I think it's over 6 seconds. Right there, if you look on the tank, you can see the cooldown running out. The duration, sorry. So I picked that up because, especially in PvP, I did a few battlegrounds on him today. And in PvP, it saves your skin like you would not even believe. It just saves you. Anytime it's up, it will save you. Guaranteed. Alright, so thank you to Large Co Jones here for explaining the fight for me. But another talent I picked up is Typhoon. This is extremely useful for whatever situation you're in. If you're a healer and your tank didn't grab somebody for whatever reason or missed it, you need to get them off. Typhoon. They'll get knocked back, they'll be dazed for 6 seconds, and you have the opportunity to run away. You have the opportunity to push them closer to your tank. It's very, 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 very useful. Lumbermill, if you're a Resto Druid and you just happen to see an enemy healer go close to the edge, Typhoon them off. It's just such a universally amazing spell. You can use it in so many situations. I highly, highly, highly recommend that. So how I heal. Let's talk about that for a bit. My basic rotation, I keep Life Bloom up on the target. Anytime clear casting procs, I use Regrowth, no matter if they need it or they don't need it. I put it up there for the Life Giving Seed. After that, I really like to spell Wild Growth, so I kind of overuse that, but it doesn't cost that much mana. My mana regen is pretty good on him. So I keep Wild Growth up as much as I can. But when it's needed, like Life Bloom, I always keep up, no matter what. Wild Growth, I keep up when it's needed. When they're in combat, I always keep it up. But right now, I don't keep it up. But as you can see, I'm keeping Life Bloom up. So Rejuve, I'm cautious of because it costs a little bit more mana than Life Bloom and Wild Growth, especially if you put it on multiple people. So be wary of that. Like as a Resto Druid, like in this entire dungeon, I think I drink only once. So you can really see how mana efficient they are if played right. And I think we only had like one wipe because, like I said, this was my first time in here, so I didn't really, no one really explained it too good, so I didn't really know what I was doing. And as you can see right there, my trends are right there. So we had one wipe. After that wipe, we talked about it. The group basically figured out what to do, and that was it. We got it down the second time, so that was pretty good considering I don't have an 85 Resto Druid and I haven't played Resto in God knows how long. Especially like I said, I haven't played an 85 Resto Druid, so all these spells are kind of new to me, and it's Pandaria, so that's even new to me. So my other rotation, as you can see, if you saw a little green circle on the ground right there, what I was doing is I was placing 3 wild mushrooms, and if you look top left at my character icon, under it you're going to see 3 mushrooms, and what these mushrooms do now is they follow your specialization. So in Cataclysm, mushrooms were basically, you put them down, you detonate them, and they hurt the enemy. As a Resto Druid in Mists of Pandaria, you put them down and the bloom effect will actually heal anybody standing in the radius, which is amazing because all 3 don't actually have to be in the same area. I can put, for example, on the Deathwing fight, I can put 1 mushroom with the melee, 1 with the group dealing with the tentacle, and 1 with the casters in the middle. If everyone starts to go down, I click it, boom, everyone gets heals. It's really cool. It's really useful, and it's going to be really revolutionary for raid healing and just druids in general. So this fight basically, it's pretty simple. You just gotta, as a healer, to be honest, I was too concentrated on healing. So I'm guessing you just had to kill a few ads, take them down, then fight the boss, and that's about it. These fights are very straightforward so long as you pay attention within the game. Like I'm thinking about what to say right now, so I'm not really watching the video too much. But yeah, I mean it's the dungeon itself is very fun. It's very easy. I was lucky. I had a really good group. And DPS was pretty good. Was very good actually. And once again, putting the regrowth up on the tank. And Swiftmend. Let's talk about Swiftmend for a little bit. You don't actually see me use Swiftmend a lot because I know my wild growth strength. I know the strength of wild growth. I know how quickly it can heal. I know how much it can heal. Just by the few games I did today on this particular druid. So I only really use Swiftmend as the big heal portion of the spell. I don't necessarily use it as the effluence, the part on the ground that will AoE heal anyone standing in it. So as you can see, I'm probably going to use it here. I use it right there to bump the tank up. So the tank surprised me by pulling 2 groups, and I'm like, oh, okay, well that was putting me to the test a little bit. I enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun, I'm not going to lie. So Tranquility, I only pop. Now here's when I use Tranquility. I don't use it when when all my group is dropping and I'm like, oh, okay, they're 20% health. I use it as a prevent heal. Like, I prevent death with Tranquility. I don't let them drop below. Usually, if I see they're dropping a lot, 3 or 4 people are dropping a lot, I'll use it to bump them up to 100% health. Use Wild Growth and use Swiftmend for the AoE healing aspect of that. So that's basically my rotation. But I mean, in my personal belief, there's no real set healing rotation in dungeons. More so in PvP. You just gotta keep yourself alive in PvP. But in dungeons, it's very situational. If your tank is a good tank and he pulls 1 group at a time, you can kind of, relax on heals. If he's a tank like me and I like pulling 100 groups at once, yeah, you're going to probably be stressed and eventually not want to run with me anymore. But luckily I have an amazing healer that runs with me, and I'm very grateful. And yeah, it's Yeah, my fiance is the only one that can really put up with me as a tank. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But as a healer, Resto Druids are perfect for me because I love having a lot of mana. I love having a lot of mana after fights, boss fights. I don't like carrying drinks on me. I don't for some reason. And speaking of which, our mana pool and Mage's mana pool and I believe Warlock's mana pool and Priests are all increased by 400%. Holy Pallies as well, I believe. So what that basically does is if I'm out of combat for like 2 minutes, my mana will be 100%. In combat, my mana regen is pretty good. It's very, they're really giving back to healers because I know, if you're a Resto Druid watching this, even I know, and I didn't have Resto Druid for quite a bit, they really screwed with Resto Druids, and I think they're giving it back here. They really are. They really, really are. I did a battleground earlier, and this guy's 85. He's not 86, 87, 88. He's 85. When I was going up against 88s and 89s in a Warson Gulch, and I had 3 or 4 people on me, and they could not kill me. Couldn't. It was impossible for them to kill me. I got away like 4 or 5 times from countless people. They just couldn't get me down. So unfortunately, I lost the monk and I lost the rep paladin, and that's just part of the game. I mean, if, in my opinion, if you wipe, even if you wipe, it doesn't make you a bad healer. It's all circumstance. If DPS didn't go down, if DPS didn't drop them quick enough, if you didn't do this, it's a game. Like, don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, if you wipe 15 times in a row, check the forums, check my other videos if you want. It's just a game, and it's all for fun, and that's why I did this video. Like, I don't have a Resto Druid. I like them a lot, so I just decided to play one and record on them and make a video today for it. And I'm not really doing too good at commentating this one. I'm a little lost for words in this one. Sorry about that, guys. But no one's perfect, as they say. So I cut the video here. We downed them relatively quickly. And I just basically wanted to save a little bit of time because this fight is relatively long and I want to say a lot about it. This fight, the first thing I'll say about it, this fight sucks. It sucks if you don't know what you're doing. Now, we wiped here once, and I'm going to show you why we wiped. If you look at my raid frame to the left, at the bottom left of certain frames, you're going to see a little purple magic curse there. Magic spell or curse spell there, a debuff. So right here, first of all, it's kind of like the last fight in Old Kingdom where you summon adds of yourself, but in this you don't actually get phased, you just gotta kill them all quick. And if you don't have the buff, you can stack, as far as I know. If you don't have the... So, okay, right there, Del has the debuff that screws you over. Because that is a massive damage dealing debuff that will just annihilate anyone who has it. You need to get rid of it. You need to. Like Shift Q, which is my top left bar, right under my trend form that I'm in right now. That has an 8-second cooldown, and it will get rid of all curse, magic, and poison effects. But it has an 8-second cooldown. So as you can see right there, I was taking a lot of damage, and that was just by the curse. That's it. That was just by the debuff he puts on us. So, you just get rid of the curse. Stack when you can. But don't stack if you have the curse. If you stack it when you have the curse, you're asking for trouble. Gotta get rid of the curses. Every healer has the ability to get rid of it. There's no excuse. Get rid of it. Just keep an eye out. It's 1 global cooldown. Set up your hots if you're a Resto Druid. Set up your shields if you're a Discipline Priest. Set up your absorb shields if you're a Holy Pally. Just get rid of it. It will wipe your group over and over and over. It cannot go undealt with. So other than that, this fight is relatively simple. Just 3 phases really. The adds, 3 things you need to watch out for rather. The adds, the debuff, and just making sure your tank doesn't drop. That's about it. So as you can see right here, I kind of let that go a little bit, and luckily a clear casting proc and I got him up there in 1 heal. And again, he has it. Wait for my cooldown. Pop it. Gets the wild growth up there relatively soon. Now right here, I noticed the boss's health right under my mini-map, and I'm like, I am not going to risk a wipe, so I blew my trank, I blew my trees right after, got everybody back up there very, very quickly, and that was basically the Temple of the Jade Serpent. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really sorry about my commentary. I know it was not as good. Just kind of at a loss for words at the very current state, very moment right now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it regardless. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I hope you enjoyed the video. And happy hunting till next time. Thanks, guys.